The next one will be looking at vestibular and vision. So the important clue here is the vestibular system. So the vestibular system is a little organ that sits in your inner ear. It's got sort of two ends to it, the cochlear end, which is responsible for our hearing, and the vestibular end, which is responsible for our balance. 3 semicircular canals filled with fluid, and at the bottom of those canals sit the calcium carbonate crystals in the uticle. As you can imagine, impact to the head, there is the potential for those crystals to move into the semicircular canal, and that gives us what we call positional vertigo, so benign postural positional vertigo. I was going to ask you whether
that might be a consequence of this as well, and we've done a couple of shows on BPPV as well.
Right, yes, yeah. So between 5 and 10% of people with a concussion will have coexisting BPPV. So that's a nice quick win. We pop some infrared goggles on them, we do some positional tests, we look at their eye movements, and if their eyes sort of start flickering very, very quickly, which we call nystagmus, depending on what position they are in, we know which canal has the crystals in it, and then we do some repositioning manoeuvres to put them back where they're supposed to be. One of the other things is that you can get is hypofunction, so underfunctioning of the vestibular system. So it can be, you do see in the literature the words vestibular concussion. So it's actually sort of, no structural damage to the vestibular system, but it's had a bit of a knock and it's not functioning as well as it should do. And we're going to look at some of the tests that we can do to look at sort of the vestibular system in a bit more depth to see why it's not functioning. But the 2 important things that we do get post-concussion is thinking about the vestibular ocular reflex. So as the name suggests, reflex between the vestibular system and the eyes, the ocular, and that reflex enables us to be able to keep our eyes still on something and move our head with being able to still look nice and clearly at the image, and the image is nice and sharp. If that reflex is affected, then you can find that vision gets a bit blurred, or you see double, or you have trouble concentrating on things because your eyes are struggling to look at the same point. And that's where we come on to convergence insufficiency. And again, looking in the literature, some papers say, they expect everybody to have a convergence insufficiency in the initial phases. And again, it's how long it persists. But convergence insufficiency basically means that when you bring your vision into something that's close up, can you get both eyes looking at the same point, or does the point that you can look at something with both eyes, has it moved out here because you can't actually bring both eyes into the same point?
I guess you have to have a baseline for that because you wouldn't know what it was before the concussion.
You would expect it to be no greater than sort of 6 to 10 centimetres, depending on their visual acuity.